Hello everyone, welcome to Film Recap. Today we are going to see Bad Genius. It is Thailand film. When the organization that administers the TST tests uncovers a cheating scam, students are asked to testify about their exceptional grades. The first is Lin, who has won numerous math contests and is the best student in her class. Following the divorce a few years ago, her mother moved out, and now it's just her and her dad, who has a little teacher salary. Her father's attempt to get her enrolled in a prominent institution is where her narrative starts. Even if the registration fee and other costs will be quite expensive, she doesn't want to study there, and she doesn't want to upset her father in that way. Lin shows that she can mentally calculate all of the costs, and Lin gladly accepts the principal's scholarship offer after she is so impressed. Later she meets Grace while she takes pictures for her ID, an affluent and gregarious girl who doesn't mind Lin being awkward geek and is more interested in acting than in learning. The two clicked right away and became close friends. Grace's grades were acceptable until the school declared a new rule one day. She is desperate to avoid failing school and disappointing her parents, so the average must be around 3.2. Lin reluctantly agrees when Grace asks her to be her tutor. Lin tries to be supportive on test day by mentioning that these are the exercises they have practiced. Grace, meanwhile, is still totally lost. Lin breezes through her exam, responding to all questions with ease. However, her concerns about Grace are unabated. Lin would lose the companionship of her very first friend if Grace fails. She chooses to assist her at that point, so she writes the right answers on an eraser, removes her shoe, and inserts the eraser inside it. Grace then returns her own shoe after she kicks it back to her. Sadly, she kicks it too forcefully, causing it to land in the center of the classroom. Fortunately though, Lin promptly resolves the issue by getting up and stomping on the shoe as she turns in her completed test. Grace passes the test with a 3.87 GPA after using the eraser. Grace extends an invitation to Lin to visit her pool in celebration, where Grace and her wealthy boyfriend Pat join them. Pat recognizes an opening when Grace shares with him their small test-taking trick. He offers Lin a huge amount of money to assist him and his friends cheat on all their tests. Lin first declines, stating that she doesn't require it. However, Pat goes on to disclose that her father continues to pay administrative costs despite receiving a scholarship. When Lin returns home, she looks through her father's desk and discovers the documents that validate Pat's detail. Lin sobs, because her father makes a lot of money with his meager teacher job. She later asks her father why he sent her to the prestigious school as she is practicing the piano. According to her father, he wants her to have greater possibilities, and even pursue her studies overseas. Disregarding Lin's claim that she was happier in her former school, Lin continues to practice on the piano after her father goes to bed, and she discovers that her fingers are excellent for signaling as they play. Lin takes the position the following day and instructs the group on how to obtain their replies. She assigns each letter to a hand pattern because the test is multiple choice, and the pupils only need to commit the patterns to memory. They may keep the money legitimate and provide an alibi for the investigation later by disguising their practice as piano lessons. The group starts cheating on all exams after that, and the tactic works. The others merely have to observe Lin move her hand on the desk, which appears to be entirely harmless. Everyone passes their examinations with excellent grades, and teachers don't suspect anything. The company quickly grows, and more students are eager to pay for the answers every day. Lin purchases a wonderful new shirt for her father and uses the money to assist out around the house. Although all of them now have passing grades, Lin remains the top student in her class, with Bank coming in second. She is a true genius who has no knowledge of the dishonest industry. He has little money, just like Lin, and is only able to attend this school because of a scholarship. His mother's meager laundromat paycheck must cover his administrative costs. His ability to remember pi swiftly demonstrates his exceptional recall. However, he does not tolerate dishonesty. Despite not being close friends, the school sends Lin and Bank to math competitions, where they collaborate to win with ease. Consequently, they see one another as close friends. The principal calls them after they place first in Teen Genius, and tells them they can apply for an overseas scholarship. But since there is only one spot, they will now compete with one another. Bank is quite anxious due to all of this strain. However, upon arriving home and learning that his elderly mother is doing the laundry by hand due to the machine breaking, he still would rather assist her than pursue his studies. Tong, a classmate, approaches Bank one day and requests payment for helping him with the exam because he finds the piano code too difficult. But because Bank doesn't want dirty money, he rejects him. Lin uses her hand signals as normal during the test, but Tong didn't learn them, so he persists in attempting to peek at Lin's paper. Bank is watching Tong because he thinks he could try to cheat and he sees him snooping. After completing his own test, Bank gets up and poses as if he's tripping near to Lin's desk. He shows her a letter stating that Tong is attempting to cheat, and Lin seems appreciative. Before departing, Bank gives the teacher his test and shares about Tong. Nevertheless, the instructor disregards the warning. Cheating is difficult because the test is divided into sets A and B. When Lin and her paying friends understand this, in a frenzy, they deftly signal who holds which set with hand motions. In order for everyone on that team to turn in their test, Lin first does the hand signals for set A. Lin trades papers with Tong, who has set B, while that group is encircling the instructor. She then quickly completes each exercise and indicates the solutions to the B group. When they ignore him, the teacher arrives to pick up the papers as the allotted time is running out. Fortunately though, they are able to complete the answers just before he gets to their desks. Everyone believes they are safe after the exam, but then Bank tells her about Tong, and Lin and Tong are abruptly summoned to the principal's office. Although they made an effort to deny any cheating, the principal finds that the Tong's papers are intermingled when they examine them. The principal calls a special conference with Lin's father and informs him that since this is only the first time and she is a good student, Lin will not be expelled but will instead lose her scholarship. Lin accuses the principal of cheating by obtaining her father's admin fees when she should have been receiving a scholarship. Like her, the institution is profiting off the study of others. Principal is so incensed that she is denied the opportunity to apply for a university-level international scholarship. Consequently, Bank no longer faces competition. But because he believes he received it unfairly, Bank feels awful. When they return home, Lin's father chastises her for what she did and expresses his disappointment by no longer wearing the blouse she got him. In the meantime, Grace joins Pat's parents for dinner at their house. They believe that Grace's influence has helped Pat do better academically. And they even promise to cover all of the costs if she tries for the STI fee with Pat so they can attend Boston University together. Grace phones Lin in a desperate attempt to get her assistance. Lin initially doesn't want to jeopardize her reputation once more, but Grace uses their friendship to her advantage this time and offers a far higher salary. Lin agrees. But she learns there is little she can do to evade the system as she exits the building after reading the test guidelines. She starts to write an apology note, but she stops when she hears a man speaking to someone in a different nation and sees all the clocks on the wall that show different time zones. She gets the ideal idea from this. Lin shares her plan with Grace and Pat. The following day, time zones will be exploited by them. Since the test is the same everywhere, she will take it in Australia 4 hours early. She can then sell the answers to anyone who wants to take the test in Thailand. Grace and Pat's next task will be to find more customers to cover all of the costs. In this manner, Lin can attend Boston University as well. However, Lin will need to commit the answers to memory in order to provide them. If she has enough time, she can typically memorize a lot. But since she will only have a few minutes remaining after the test is over, half of the test will be difficult for her to memorize. Bank is the only one who could memorize the other half, but they know better than to ask him because he detests cheating. Bank delivers clothes to the laundromat on his scooter the night before the scholarship exam. When he arrives home, he is surrounded by 2 thugs who beat him up and then dispose of his lifeless body in a dump after accusing him of scratching their car with his scooter. Bank is disappointed to learn that he has lost the opportunity to take the test when he awakens the following morning. When Lin learns of what transpired later at school, she goes to Bank and offers him a large salary in exchange for joining them. Bank initially declines. Lin persuades him to alter his mind after reminding out that the system consistently cheats on them and that it is only right to do the same. They complete their heist plans now that they have mastered all the memorizing. In Australia, Lin and Bank will take the test while concealing phones in the restrooms of the buildings. They will go relieve themselves during exam breaks and email Grace and Pat the answers. They will just pretend to be ill for the final portion of the test without a break. The answers will be printed by Grace and Pat on barcode stickers that will be attached to pencils. The paying students will then receive the pencils on motorcycles just before their flights. Pat gives a customized presentation that mimics Steve Jobs in an attempt to attract even more clients, earning them millions of dollars in the process. Grace uses her editing talents to create fictitious documents, which Lin persuades her father to sign by claiming it's to take part in Teen Genius Australian branch. As a result, Grace is now able to fly without an adult. In order to strengthen their memory, Lin and Bank spend the next few days taking practice tests and rushing to the restroom to text the answers. The group rehearses their crocodile tears and a libis in case they are discovered the day before the test. When Pat's turn comes, he calls Bank a loser who woke up in a garbage and says in his narrative that he doesn't know him. When Bank reveals that he never notified anyone about the landfill, the girls swiftly pull them apart. Bank becomes enraged and leaps on Pat to beat him up. This indicates that Pat intentionally had Bank skip the test and bribe those guys so he could assist them instead. Bank quits the plan and leaves the building, but when he's on the street, he sees a laundromat ad and wonders if he can truly live that life forever. Lin, meanwhile, quits because she is disgusted by what transpired. Since she values their connection, Grace assures Lynn that she was unaware of it, and begs her to at least not be angry with her. After that, Lynn searches for Bank, who has made the decision to re-join the organization since, if he was beaten and missed his opportunity, he at least deserves compensation. Bank persuades Lynn to rethink her opinion about helping by pointing out that she is to blame for his mess, and that she should accept responsibility for fixing it. Bank and Lynn take a plane to Sydney a few hours later. Despite being awkward and silent the entire way, they make up and take a selfie together when they arrive. On exam day, they conceal their phones in the restrooms before entering the classroom, where they successfully finish the first section of the test without any problems. This allows them ample time to commit the answers to memory. When the first break time comes, Bank and Lynn dash to the restrooms to type their responses. However, Bank requests additional funds before sending his. Pat despises him for it and initially declines. After Bank explains that he needs payment for being assaulted, Pat gives him half of the money and says he would give the other half to him after the test. After reviewing it, Bank sends his responses. After a few while, Bank and Lynn go back to the classroom and swiftly finish the second portion of the exam. They start to run into problems, though, during the second break. Although Bank arrives at his booth quickly, it takes him a moment to recall all of the answers. He succeeds in sending them, but the inspecting officer notices that Bank is taking too long inside and knocks on his door. Bank gets caught after he tries to flush the phone down the toilet but fails and destroys the toilet lid in a hurry. Lynn, meanwhile, must wait in line before she can enter her stall. Although she is suspected of taking too long, she is able to send all of the answers. Fortunately, she decides to conceal her phone in her shoes and makes a safe escape from the restroom. She hides the phone in the water cooler before going back to the classroom, though after finding Bank being reprimanded outside and all the children being searched. Sadly, Bank doesn't come back, so Lynn has complete the final step by herself. She briefly doubts her ability to learn this much, but as her hand starts to move subconsciously, she understands that if she memorizes it like a music sheet, she can accomplish this. The trick works, but she's running out of time, so she forces herself to throw up with a pencil. Lynn leaves the classroom, retrieves the phone and slips out of the building, dodging the officers. While feigning to be sick, however, the officers start pursuing her after noticing her odd motions on the surveillance video. While entering the answers, Lynn dashes through the metro station, but someone treads on her phone and slams into her. Lynn believes she won't be able to complete her work, because the screen is broken, but she sends all the answers after many pressing. She misses the train as a result of this delay, and the officer intercepts her and asks her to accompany him for interrogation. Lynn tucks the phone into a stranger's backpack as they leave. Lynn's father arrives as Pat and Grace are printing the answers. Since Lynn won't pick up the phone, and he discovered this address on the documents he signed, he is concerned. Pat and Grace fabricate a narrative about Lynn and Bank dating since he wants to know what's going on. Lynn allegedly lied to her father when they went on a trip together, because she feared he wouldn't approve. The man departs after being satisfied with this response, and the two of them can complete the stickers in time to deliver all of the pencils to the pupils. Returning to Lynn, she finds Bank sharing his narrative when she is brought in for questioning. With tears in her eyes, Lynn erases the photo they took together after he draws a sign warning her not to get involved since he is lying to hide everyone. Grace and Pat are waiting for Lynn to return home so they can invite her to a celebration of their accomplishment. But Lynn rejects them. She refuses to assist the pair any longer, claiming that university tests aren't multiple choice anyhow, because she feels terrible about her results being revoked and Bank being suspended. After that, she contacts her father to come get her, and when he inquires about her lover, Lynn breaks down and tells him everything. She is expelled from school as a result. Later, despite Grace's plea for her to join the celebration, Lynn exits the group chat. The triumph no longer feels as wonderful because she lost a buddy. Lynn feels even more guilty when the officer tells her that a teacher must also instill moral values when she attempts to apply to a nearby university to study education. Following the interview, Lynn is taken aback when she receives a text from Bank inviting her over. She discovers when she gets to his house that he has been making significant improvements to the laundry equipment using the money. Bank clarifies that he hopes to increase his income by assisting other students with their exams, and that doing so will be safer and include a larger clientele. Threatens to reveal the entire situation if Lynn doesn't comply. But Lynn informs him that she has already decided. Later on, Lynn visits the Heist group, and with her father's support, she comes clean about everything.